Hey everyone, this is Devin Miller here with another episode of The Inventive Journey. I'm your host, Devin Miller, the serial entrepreneur that's grown several startups into 7 and 8 figure businesses, as well as the founder and CEO of Miller IP Law, where he helps startups and small businesses with their patents and trademarks. You ever need help with yours? Just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat, and we're always here to help. Now, today we've got another great guest on the podcast, Laura Patterson. And Laura started her journey growing up in Missouri, went to junior high, and was part of the Young Achievers group, where she came up with a product that started the make and sell, and learned a lot about the customer journey. Went off to college and studied both in undergraduate and graduate school, and got some good degrees there. And during that time, also did some door-to-door sales for office supplies. Afterwards, worked for a startup in the medical industry doing a sales role. Did most of the business in Texas, and then joined another business in Texas, Motorola, which was more of a startup at the time. Afterwards, started her own business in marketing and focused on customer-centric marketing, and has been doing that for a number of years now. So, with that much as an introduction, welcome on the podcast, Laura.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely excited to have you here. So, well, I just gave a quick run through to a much
Yeah.
longer journey. So why don't we rewind and unpack a little bit and tell us a little bit more about how your journey got started growing up in Missouri?
Oh, well, I don't know where all your listeners are located, but Missouri is a great state to be from, the show me state. And so I think that's probably has a lot to do with some of the work that my company does, which is all around measuring performance and success. So proving it out is really important to me. And yes, I've been on, I guess, in the entrepreneurial ranks for a very long time, whether that was raking leaves, shoveling snow, or selling chocolate. And Junior Achievement is an awesome organization. Let me put a plug in for them. When I was young, Junior Achievement was an after school effort where business leaders would work with young people to create a business, make a product, sell a product. I don't know if it quite works that way today, but it's really a wonderful organization. And I did go to a graduate school as well, and learned a lot about business there. I have to tell you, Devin, you you study Chinese. My hat's off to you on what an amazing accomplishment, because that is not an easy language to get a degree in. So that's remarkable. So that's a little bit about how I got started, and I never
Well,
really
just
planning
to
to
kind of
be an
fill in the
entrepreneur.
audience, so did it or when did both undergraduate as well as the graduate school? What did you study? Where did you go to school and what did you study?
So I went to school at Truman State University in Missouri. I was really, really fortunate to have a program back then. I don't know again if that still exists today, called Pershing Scholars. And so 20 students from Missouri schools were selected for this scholarship. It's room, board, and tuition for 4 years, as long as you are a good community citizen, are active in the community, and maintain your grades. So it was really quite a phenomenal opportunity. And I did a double major there in business and communication. Graduate school, I don't know if you know anything about Missouri. I know that you're in a cold state, but Northeast Missouri is very cold. And when I had an opportunity to either take a job or go to graduate school, my mentor said, think about going to graduate school. You can always go to work. So instead of taking a job at Procter and Gamble, I went to the University of South Florida. This is before they had football. I realize now that South Florida is very, all about has football and it's really kind of grown up. But when I was there, just going to get a master's degree, we didn't have all those wonderful sports. We had a basketball team, which was actually pretty good. Anyway, and my graduate degree was kind of an interdisciplinary degree. So it was a communication and business organizational business type of degree, and which was great. Graduate school is a wonderful opportunity to find out just how resilient you are, because it's very challenging.
No, that's awesome. So you go do that, and sounds like got some great education, a lot of good opportunities there. Now coming out of school, I guess during school you had maybe did a few jobs, or
I did.
worked during that period of time. I think it
I
was with
did.
door to
I
door
worked.
office supplies, and that's kind of where you got started. But maybe walk us through a bit of that as well.
Sure. So yes, I did work. Part of being in this program, I got to teach, but I also had some jobs. And in the summer, between my first and second year, I took an outdoor sales position at a local office supply store. Now, you got to understand, the world was very different back then, and you didn't just click online and buy your office supplies. You actually had people come to your office, or you could go to their store. And I was one of those people that would go to offices, and I wanted to do this job. It was kind of strategic in nature because I knew when I left graduate school, I was going to get a job, and I wanted to find and begin to build some relationships with prospective employers. So as I was going in and out of offices, meeting business managers and office managers and business owners, and counting pads of paper and pens and tape and staples, gave me an opportunity to build some relationships. So when the summer ended, I sent everyone a thank you card for being wonderful customers. And when the holidays came, I sent a holiday card and let them know I would be graduating in the spring and would love an opportunity to talk about whether there might be some opportunities in their organization. And spring break came and said, I'm looking to see if you might be available for an interview, exploratory interview, have a conversation. And that's how I got my first job after graduate school, was from one of those companies. It was a startup company. This will date me. It had a application software in the durable medical equipment industry, and our software ran on a Wang 2200. And it was a startup. And I did sales, marketing, implementation, and customer support. So it was very great opportunity to get a lot of different experience.
No, that's awesome. Sounds like it was definitely a great opportunity.
It
So,
was.
so now you graduated, you started working at that startup. I think you're kind of in the sales field now. Kind of how long were you at that business, that company, and kind of where did things evolve from there?
Yeah, so just a little over a year. I was footloose and fancy free, and I had managed to acquire new customers for the company in Texas, one in Houston and one in Dallas. And so I was zipping around, in addition to going to various trade shows and making all kinds of connections. But I was still spending a lot of time in Texas with these two companies and doing their, implementation work. So not only did I have to market it and sell it, but I actually had to help them bring it to life and implement it and all of that. So really end to end, and that's really important into some of the things that I have done in my career, and some of the things that we do for our customers today is really understanding the entire process a customer has to go through in being a customer of a company. But while I was zipping around in Texas, I met a gentleman who was from Motorola on his way up to Chicago. And they had a small up and coming business in Austin, Texas. And he thought I might be a good fit. They were looking for young people with technology backgrounds and startup experience. And I got in touch with somebody here, and one thing led to another. And next thing I know, I've been offered an opportunity to join this little organization in Austin, Texas. And you have to kind of, this is 1982, 83, that time frame. Austin was not what it is today. So it's
Hmm.
changed a lot. I've been here 42 years, so it's changed a lot.
Awesome. So now, so you had the opportunity. You said, "Okay, I'm already in Texas a lot." Startup came along, was a great option. So you went down that path. Now, were you kind of staying in the same or similar role? So in other words, you continued on sales for them, or kind of what did you do there in Texas, and kind of what was the opportunity there?
I had 14 wonderful, amazing years at Motorola. And when I first joined the organization, I was really in what you would call a marketing communications role. The business I went to work for eventually, after I got there, was only like 40 people. It was really a startup inside a very large company. And the way that Motorola was organized is very much like many large corporations are organized. So we were just a little itty bitty operation inside of, a business unit, inside a division, inside a group, inside a sector, inside a company, right? And so had the opportunity to start in marketing. I opportunity as time went on to be in marketing operations, product marketing, all different kinds of roles. And the first 7 years was like an amazing rocket ship. We went from not really having any customers to $1 billion entity. Nothing like being on that kind of a ride. It's just remarkable. And when the man I worked for became the number 2 person as we grew up in our group, I got tapped to go run a customer marketing and brand strategy group, and the whole initiative around that. And I spent 7 years doing that, which was a whole nother kind of thing, but really played to my passion of customer centricity and serving the customer and helping the customers be more successful.
Oh, it's awesome. Sounds like it was a great opportunity to kind of expand into additional areas and get more or additional experience from a different business and different industry. So now as you're doing that, that sounds like you've been in Texas for quite some time. You kind of shifted that company, filled a few different roles, and were able to evolve and expand. Now, at some point, if I recall our conversation, you kind of ended or decided to or shifted to going out on your own or to starting your own business and kind of going in that direction. So maybe walk us through a little bit as to the genesis for that,
eventually,
or what put
the
you that
first
direction.
thing the first thing I did is I had a wonderful opportunity to work for a small firm in the financial services industry to architect a customer loyalty service for them. So I got to take my passion and actually produce something that they would then be using in their company. And then that led to another startup company in Austin that had an enterprise software application, and their primary target market was financial services. So I started in financial services. We didn't really talk about that. I had a early position at State Farm. So it just kind of went full circle. And in Austin in 1999, if you could spell marketing, you could get a job. And so my phone was ringing a lot. And so were my colleagues, and I was relatively known. And so a colleague and I were getting these phone calls to join these new startups. I really just wasn't wanting to do another startup. It's a lot of work. I know you know that because you work with startups, and I think it's side hustles, right?
Yep,
So
absolutely.
you know what an undertaking that is. And so we decided to create a company of our own, and we converted many of those first job offers into our first clients. And our whole focus, which today is like no big deal, but 25 years ago, these were not buzzwords like they are today. We wanted to create a growth strategy firm that would help our customers use insights from data to create customer-centric growth strategies, and then help them to make sure they had the operational capabilities to implement them and the performance measures to determine whether or not they were working, and if not, what adjustments to make. So back then, those kinds of buzzwords that was like deer in the headlights. We were really new. I mean, we did a lot of customer research, market research, still do today, competitive intelligence, of course, work around voice of customer, value proposition, positioning, messaging, all of the things that companies need to do to be successful. That today, many people do. But back then, there weren't that many firms like our firm, and based all on, data driven.
No, that's awesome.
So 25 years later, still doing it.
So now just circling back, so when you got started, kind of, I guess, or even circling back a bit farther, what was kind of the genesis, or what made you decide to kind of go in that area, kind of start your own business, kind of switch over and get things started, in the sense you've been working for various startups. Now you've been in the corporate world for a period of time, and as you
over
hit
20
on,
years. Yeah.
so always a much different skill set and a lot of times a lot more difficult and a lot more time and effort to get a business going. So kind of what pushed you in that direction or got you going there?
That is such a good question, Devin. It must have been something I ate that day because I have to be honest with you. I had never really had any inclination or aspiration to have my own company or to be an entrepreneur. But the timing was right for an, if I was going to ever do it, ever find out whether or not I could do it, that was the right time to do it. Now, that's 1999, and the world goes upside down in 2001, right? So
Mm.
2001, we have 9/11, we have a dot-com bust. My partner, his wife gets breast cancer. He leaves to get a job where they gets better insurance. We didn't have the kind of insurance for a small company that he really needed to come back to do that battle. And so I'm sitting here thinking, well, what should I do? And I'm married to the most remarkable person who said, let's see if you can make a go of it. And so I bought the company from Barry. He was very, very gracious about it and took the helm and have been at the helm ever since. So don't really know what possessed me at the time. Looking back, I think it was just a chance to kind of find out if I was capable of doing it. And I've always kind of risen to challenges. And it was just another challenge, kind of like I'm sure you have faced those you look at all the companies you've created. So I'm assuming you have something around the same metal that I have. And I've been really fortunate and I feel very, very blessed. We have great customers and I just feel really grateful.
That's awesome. So you've been in business for 25 years. So what kind of walks through? I mean, generally you go through an evolution with the business, everything from, hey, we're just going to get it started. We're going to try and make some income. We're going to land some customers to, you may have a growth period. You may have a bringing on new talent. Sometimes you have a pullback where you're having to adjust or you're going through a more difficult time with the business or, a wide variety of evolution. So over that kind of course of 25 years, walk through a little bit kind of how the business evolved.
You're right. All businesses go through interesting stages. And in those early years, especially right after 2001, trying to figure out how we were going to grow because the world was really challenging. And then we went through another downturn, as you know, in the mid 2000s. And now we're, other downturns. So we've learned to pivot. But one of the things we've always tried to do is keep our customers at the center of what we do. If we serve our customers well, and I believe in an abundance mindset. So if we take care of our customers, there will be more opportunities. We've always focused on teaching our customers how to fish because there will always be other things that we can do for them rather than just, giving them fish and then they're kind of stuck with us. Our customers don't feel stuck with us. And I think it has a lot to do with the way we approach how we work with them. We're very collaborative in what we do, and our whole commitment is to their success. And I think if you're committed to their success, things just have played out for us. We've been really, really fortunate. We've helped over 300 companies grow in the course of 25 years. We have over 40 case studies on our website. I mean, we're a small company. Very few companies have that many case studies. We have over 80 logos on our company again, on our website. Again, not that many companies have that many logos and quotes from their customers. So again, very, very fortunate. And I think that's really the primary thing. Take care of your customers and things will work out.
No, that's awesome. Sounds like it's been a great evolution. So now if you're to kind of take the look out and say where you guys are headed over the next 6 to 12 months, kind of the near term future, kind of where do you see the business headed or what's the next steps?
Yeah, good question. And we've been thinking about that and talking about that a lot in the last year and a half because I'm no spring chicken. And some of the people that are part of our team aren't spring chickens either. And COVID really changed some things up, like for many companies. We went to remote. Some of my teams have spouses who retired and they moved closer to grandchildren. Some have aging parents like I do and want to be able to give their parents some extra attention in this part of their journey. So we try to make a lot of adjustments. And some of the things we've done, number one, we took some of our IP and we turned them into actual products. So we have like 5 of our most popular workshops that people would pay a lot of money. We turned those into interactive workbooks that are very affordable. So smaller companies, and especially during COVID, a lot of companies were struggling. So we made things that any company, smaller companies, do-it-yourselfers, solopreneurs had access to this IP. I have a patent as an IP attorney. I'm sure you can appreciate that for our software excellence. And we have always used that in our consulting. And what we did is we invested heavily in making that a software as a service application that is on Azure and made it a subscription-based product. So we've tried to do things that will help our customers and enable us to scale in a different way than what we had been doing before, which was just adding on more and more resources to be able to serve more and more customers. This allows us to still serve many customers in a very intensive, rich way, but also other customers beyond what we could do as a team, because we really just didn't want to add more and more people. For me personally, I love in engaging with customers. I do a lot of speaking engagements on the customer centricity. Strategic planning work, of course, is a key part of what we do. Value proposition, positioning, messaging, segmentation work, all the upstream marketing types of work that companies need to have. We believe that marketing with a capital M is the engine of growth for most companies, as long as you are customer-centric in your approach. I'm hoping someday to serve on a privately held or PE-backed board. For me personally, I think it would be a great way to contribute to a company without actually going back into a corporate world, which I have no interest in doing. So that's kind of the future.
Oh, sounds like a great direction ahead. A lot of fun opportunities and a continue evolution of the business. So definitely will be fun to watch and see how things evolve. So now with that, now I know as we've kind of reached the present day of the journey and even looking a bit into where things are headed, great time to transition to the 2 questions I like to ask towards the end of each episode. So the first question I'd like to ask is, along your journey, what was the worst business decision you ever made, and what did you learn from it?
I'm sure I've made a lot of mistakes, and I have been really thankful for the advisors that have been with us. We recognized we needed to have advisors, so we have had an advisory board. But I would say the worst mistake I ever made was the time and money and energy I put into getting on the government schedule, the GSA. I don't know if you're familiar with the GSA. I thought it would be an opportunity, particularly when we were going through the second downturn, right, in the 2008, 2009, 2010 timeframe, to help our company. And it really was a huge distraction. It took our eye off the ball and off of who our customers really are. And once I had to correct that. I still spent way too many years keeping that on the system, staying involved in that system, and it never converted into anything. So all the money, time, and energy just never ever converted. And so that was a waste, right? And it took away from where we could have really made other investments, maybe sooner. Some of the investments that we've made now, maybe we could have made those sooner, and they might have had a better outcome for the market that we serve. So I think that would be my first confession.
No, that makes sense. And that one's always hard. Sometimes you're looking at exploring different programs, different options, and it's a fine line between how far do you push them, how far do you pursue them, versus do they have the return or the worth or the worthwhile, and kind of when to cut that cord. So it's definitely an easy area to make a mistake, but also a great one to learn from. Second question now that I'd like to ask. So now if you're talking to somebody that's just getting into a startup or a small business, what'd be the one rule of thumb you'd recommend?
Oh boy, I probably have more than one rule of thumb, but one rule of thumb would be take advantage of advisors. Advisors are really important. If you've never, I had been already in a corporate world for 20 years, and I still brought on advisors for my company. I am, and one in particular who has since passed away had a saying that even to this day, I can hear her telling me, only do what only you can do. And that's a topic for a whole nother conversation. The second thing I would tell people is remember who your customer is, take care of your customer, and pay everyone else first. You're the last in line to get paid, whether that's the government, your suppliers, your people. I think people can make a big mistake if they try to be the first in line to get paid. It's a balance, it's a balancing act to balance creating customer value and creating business value. But if you have to put your thumb on the scale, put your thumb on the side of customer value. That's what I would say.
No, definitely is a great piece of advice, great rule of thumb, and a great takeaway. So, well, now as we do wrap up, if people want to reach out to you, they want to be a customer, they want to be a client, they want to be an employee, they want to be an investor, they want to be your next best friend, any or all of the above, what's the best way to reach out to you, contact you, find out more?
I can always use another friend. And they can reach me at Laura P, as in Patterson, at VisionEdgeMarketing.com. I'm happy to hear from them. I can book a meeting, 30 free minutes of consulting. Again, we want to see people succeed, and we've been very fortunate. So it's a form of paying forward. Happy to do it.
Awesome. Well, I definitely encourage people to reach out, make a connection, support a great business. If nothing else, make a new best friend. So with that, thank you again, Laura, for coming on the podcast. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. Now, for all of you that are listeners that are out there, if you have your own journey to share and you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, we'd love to have you. So just go to inventiveunicorn.com, apply to be on the show. Couple more things as listeners, make sure to click share, subscribe, leave us a review, helps us to reach even more startups and small businesses to help them along their journey of success. And along that note, if along your journey you ever need help with patents or trademarks or anything else with your startup or your small business, just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat, and we are always here to help. Well, thank you again, Laura, for coming on the podcast, and wish the next leg of your journey even better than the last.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you and your group.